Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, today, another budget board. Of course, this one has a different theme to it though. So it's actually a themed board, which, I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna really depend on the person if they like it or not. We're gonna have to go into it, but it is the Kiiboom Phantom 81 Lite. We're gonna of course compare this one with the other ones that I've tried, as well as the E75, which I did this week. Let's see if this is worth it as well. See what my thoughts are. And of course, I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. But please make sure to like and subscribe before we go into the unboxing, because we're almost at 6,000. So let's go right into it. Now, starting off with the unboxing of the Phantom 81 Lite. Thank you again, Kiiboom, for sending me this out, because last time they sent me out a really nice see-through board, which I really did appreciate. I thought it was a really incredible board. I know it was not cheap. It was kind of expensive, but it was really well done. And of course, taking this box open, we can see what the accessories are. So you do get a braided cable. Now, that's something nice to have, because honestly, a lot of the budget boards out there, they don't really provide nice cables. This one, Kiiboom really does provide something better. Now, you see here, I'm struggling to get out the last pieces in this box, but as you can see, you do get some extra keycaps. And right at there, after shaking it quite a bit, I was able to get the extra switches. So you get 3 extra switches in this thing, the extra accented keycaps, braided cable, and your basic switch pillar keycap pillar, which honestly I would appreciate if companies would actually provide something a little bit better, but I do understand that's like the most efficient thing to provide. Now, you do get a cloth as well, microfiber cloth, to clean your keyboard. This is something that's really nice to have. You also get these stickers, which is from Kiiboom. I mean, it's just stickers. Some people might like it. I'm just kind of more of a neutral side of it. You do get a manual, which really reminds you of like the Apple Maker manuals, but let's go take a look at this board itself. So this is a themed board. So the Phantom 81 comes in different colors, like about 4 total. This is a frog theme. I just want to try something new, so taking a look at it. It is plastic. It really reminds me, honestly, of the Vibe series from Mechlands. But of course, we're gonna have to weigh this board before we go into a sound test. And this thing weighs a total of 1,018 grams. So now that we're finished with the sound test, first thing we gotta do, of course, remove some keycaps and take a look to see what's inside. So first thing we're gonna see, it is flex cut plate. It's a PC plate and it is flex cut. Now, what are my thoughts on flex cut PC plates? Not a big fan. I would love to see companies really stop doing the flex cut and really kind of try doing something new. I think the whole flex cut thing is really gotten too far out of hand, and it would be nice to have something new. Now, of course, we're gonna have to open this up. So if I remember what I did with the Vibe series, I did break it. So hopefully this time I won't break anything with this one. I do have a new tool though, and this tool was really work well. It actually wasn't too difficult to open. And did you just see all these things pop out of the board? These are springs. Now I actually dropped one. You can actually see me in the right corner there trying to pick up some springs because I actually dropped it completely. This thing is actually really interesting. I'm actually quite surprised. I did not expect this at all, but they have these springs inside the hole where it's actually technically so gasket mounted, right? And I'm gonna have to show you guys a bit up close, but let's remove the cables first so I don't rip anything. The cable is a little bit hard to remove on the PCB, so the best thing I can suggest is grab like some kind of tweezers or something to really help you grab it to pull it out. But you be careful with this so you don't damage any of the pins inside. Now, getting it closer in, you're gonna have to take a look here. There's these springs that are actually built fully inside. So these springs will go into where the so-called gasket mount is, where you have the technically like the nubs that are going to go into those sections. So as you can see right there, that's the nub that goes right into the PC plate, and then it goes into that hole. So if you put it inside right there like that, you should see that it's supposed to give you a bit of bounce, like kind of almost like a leaf spring, where there's certain boards out there on the premium side where they have leaf springs that really help with like the bouncing of it. This is a little bit different, and how they did this, it's actually quite interesting. It kind of reminds me of how Electrics did it with their springs in their boards with the DIY kits. But there's one thing I noticed. These springs don't seem to actually fully reach. I don't know if once you close it, maybe you get a little bit more. Like you see right there, I'm pressing it. It does have some bounce to it, but it doesn't seem any more than like a regular board would. I think it would have been really nice to have those nubs to be a little bit longer. It would have been really nice to have it a little bit longer to actually get that full spring press in. Now, this is a plate mounted stabilizer. So you get the plate mounted stabilizer that comes pre-lubed. Though, even though it's pre-lubed, one thing I felt was that it still had a lot of tinging. So I'm gonna have to show you guys a little bit of how to fix it later. You do get stabilizers in the enter, backspace, space, and the left shift. So that's the total stabilizers you get. The PC plate itself is gonna be 1.2. Remember this, that my measuring tool is not fully 100% accurate, but we're looking at 1.2 for the plate. And then I'm just trying to get a little bit of space there so you can try the PCB as well. So it's really hard when I can't really fully remove everything, but we're looking at like a 1.2 for the PCB as well. So we're looking at 1.2. This is usually the case for most flex cut boards with the PCBs. I'm trying to see if the PCB is also flex cut or not. The way that they taped it really was a bit too much. As you can see there, the tape's actually coming off and the foam's stuck on the PCB. I'm not a big fan of how strongly it's taped. Luckily, I was able to grab a side here and it was able to come off. Super awesome that I was able to. Now, taking a look there, it looks like it's not flex cut at all. So as you can see, not flex cut for the PCB. Or like you don't see the full cuts like you would on other boards with like full flex cut PCBs. Just even going further and to check to see if there is any. Nope, this thing's fully not. Now, underneath you get that little foam. You do get a silicone on the bottom too, which is actually a really nice layered silicone. The battery is there as well. It's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. And that's pretty much it for the bottom of the case. Now, of course, we're going to modding it. I'm going to do 2-layer tape mod. I think in general, this board does have quite a Thock sound to it. The sound is good. The switches are good, but let's do 2 layers just to see if there's any differences. And then, of course, we're going to have to put this all back together. You know, get the foam on the bottom back in, which is a very basic like styrofoamy foam. It's not anything special, nothing I would say like super high quality feeling, but better than a lot of other ones that are out there, like in the budget side that you would have actually saw from the EA75. But let's put this all together and let me show you guys the next mod that I'm going to do, which is the stabilizers. So as I mentioned, the stabilizer did have tinging. What do? I have a syringe that I put Krytox into, Krytox 205 specifically, not the G0, 205, which is a little bit thicker. And then I add it into the stabilizers. By doing that, it really helps with the tinging, especially if it has severe tinging or if you have stabilizers that just don't have a lot of lube. Next, 2 layers of tape mod in the spacebar, and let's hear it. We did the whole teardown, sound test, everything, modding of the board. One of my thoughts so far. This thing really reminds me of the Vive 75. Gonna be honest, this layout this plastic, pretty much the whole thing really reminds me of the Vibe 75. I would say, except for the fact that like these keycaps are a MOA profile keycap, which honestly is not the greatest for typing. As you guys know, I have a Mu02 right here. It is a MOA profile. I do love this one because it's wood, right? It's a big difference thing. This thing is a theme that I personally wouldn't grab, right? It's like a frog shape themed board, and it's really going to come down to personal preference. I'm sure some people out there will like this. This is just not something for me personally, but the sound profile on this thing is really nice. I would say they did a great job in terms of making a nice Thocky board. Though we're gonna have to really go in depth to see like the price and more of this board to see even if it's worth it and compare it with other things. So we'll go right into that and see how this really compares with the others. Now, one thing you see is this is the frog themed board from Kiiboom with the Phantom 81 Lite. As you can see here, they did a really great job in terms of the full theme. The whole green color of the case, the keycaps itself, the MOA profile, kind of really representing like more of a circular shape like a leaf where a frog would sit. As you can see there, the profile of the board comparatively, like the MOA keycaps versus cherry keycaps right there. You can see the MOAs are a little bit on the higher side and rounded out. Very different type of style. On the back here, it's just very basic, but then you do get this little section for the USB dongle that's right underneath the feet. Now, this board itself, I would say the theme-wise is well done. The MOA profile, like getting up close to show you guys, is really, really interesting. One thing I've said this before as well, is MOA profiles are not really the best for fast typing, and this is like my favorite MOA profile keyboard. This is the Acco Mu02, one of my favorite keyboards, and I still own today. It's a wooden board, really well done. It looks beautiful and looks like a piece of art. This is the same MOA type keycaps, and you can see that same for the Kiiboom. These keycaps are rounded, so you will have a bit of issues trying to type super fast. Unless you kind of play like piano and you type like you play piano, where you're actually keeping your wrists up and your fingers up, it really does have a hard time like really moving your fingers over to do the typing. So keep that in mind, and especially for gaming too, really not the best for gaming. MOA profile keycaps really have a hard time keeping up with games, and like you will mispress a lot of buttons. Like that rounded shape really makes it like your fingers are good in it and holding it, but once you actually have to move out of it and doing something else, it really will affect it a lot. So keep that in mind for yourselves. The keycaps feel a little bit different. So like when I showed you the Acco Mu02, it feels really smooth in terms of the keycaps. These ones almost feel like it got painted over, which feels a little bit different. It almost feels like you have a little bit of like a painted over feeling on them. Does that mean that it's like it feels bad? No, it's not like it's super slippery or like really grippy and feels bad, but you will feel it when you are moving it. So you can hear from that sound test quickly out there that using it in the office as well is actually not too loud. You will have a deeper sound profile. So instead of like clacky profiles where, you know, when you're using the office, some people might not enjoy it. This isn't too bad. But of course, when you're in the office and you're using a keyboard that's kind of on the louder side, you know, you are going to, of course, be a little bit more self-aware. I know I do that. I tried these keyboards all at the office, and I'm using a shared office space area. I feel like these boards aren't actually that bad. The thing is, there's so much sound that goes off in an office that you really aren't going to be bothering a ton of people. And to be honest with you, me using this has gotten more people, like not the specific one, but custom boards, has gotten more people to want to buy one in my office than anything. Now, this is the Mochi switch. So it's a fully like see-through clear switch from Kiiboom, which is like the Kiiboom Mochi. It doesn't have too much stem mobile on the top end, but once you do press it on down, you do get some stem mobile, specifically the verticality of it. Horizontally, it's not as bad, but like as you can see here, when I'm moving the keycaps around, you see them moving quite a bit. And I noticed this with this MOA profile. It just feels like there's a lot more stem mobile on it, even though when I'm like actually testing it, it's not actually as bad. I think specifically with these keycaps, because of the rounded shape, it's actually doing a little bit more of the stem mobile. So keep in mind for yourselves, if you are using this or you want to get a Phantom 81 Lite, I would suggest maybe not the MOA profile if you're going to do gaming with it, because it is going to be a little bit worse in terms of the wobble. Now, of course, we go right into the backlighting, and as you can see, even without the lights turned off, This thing is incredibly bright. Like turning off the lights right here, you can see how bright this board is. The backlighting on Kiiboom boards, so far the two I've tried, right? The Phantom series has been super bright. I'm actually quite impressed with how bright this thing is. If you are someone who loves the RGB and loves super bright backlighting, especially that it's accurate, looks nice and bright, this is a board that does that well. Like, I'm quite impressed with how it is. It has so many levels of brightness to it too. I guess you can see here, I keep bringing it down and down and down and down. Like, I'm constantly bringing the brightness down, and I got it at the 0 right there, and I slowly bring it back up again. You can really see how bright this thing is. I really appreciate it, and I actually thought this looked nice with this kind of color scheme with this board. Now, of course, we're gonna have to go straight into the website. So this is the Phantom 81 Lite. It comes out at 106 USD. So this is USD pricing. And as you can see here, this thing is gonna have a total of 4 different colors. So you get the black, which has the see-through keycaps with it. This is the white, you don't have see-through keycaps. You have the green, which is gonna be the frog theme. And then the blue, which is more of like a dessert themed, like a present / dessert. Almost feels Christmassy, I'm gonna be honest. Like, instead of more of a dessert feel, it really does feel a lot more Christmas. And it comes with, as I said, the mochi switch. But I would suggest you, of course, get a different profile like the regular white or black if you're doing gaming. This thing is an ABS molding, so the case itself is ABS molded, which is actually well done. It is feeling really decent in terms of the case itself. The plastic isn't feeling super cheap, like not at all. Now, it is QMK and VIA compatible. Really cool. I wish they did that with the other Phantom. I don't know why they didn't. It's kind of unfortunate that it wasn't like that. Now, it has a 4,000 mAh battery, as I said. It says 11 hours of battery total. I think I was able to use about 8 hours, and then I plugged it in again. But like, it wasn't that it was saying that it was out of battery. It's just I plugged it in to use it wired for a moment. Now, this board definitely has a lot of good dampening into it. And of course, at the bottom of the website, you can see 2 things, the manual and the JSON file. And the JSON file is what you're gonna need to be able to use it in VIA. So you just download it, make sure you bring the JSON file into the folders you put your JSON files in, and then just load it in the designer tab, and you'll be able to open it up. So as you can see here, you have VIA, which is super easy to like modify, change things up. I really appreciate that they do use VIA. I think that's something that's really big. The logo lighting, I'm very confused about, honestly, because I don't see anywhere where the logo lights up on this board, but it has a option to change the logo lighting as well as the backlighting. So I'm very curious about that. It might be because of the version I have. Maybe the other ones, like the black and the white, have that option, but in this one, the green and the blue, I believe, will not have those options available. So keep that in mind for yourselves. Now, of course, we're gonna have to go into Keyboard Inspector, check out the polling rate of this board, because I did try gaming, right? So it is 1000 hertz. It does work. I used it. It's just not comfortable. As I told you, right? The MOA profile is the issue. The game, in terms of like latency wise with the keyboard itself wired, had no issues. Now, of course, I do want to compare this with like some of the other boards that I have, especially like in the budget range, house plastic boards, especially I did the EA75 recently. So let's go right into comparing the different boards that we tried. So we have the Phantom 81 Lite here, which is at 106 USD. The Mu 02 that I showed earlier, which is similar kind of style, at 140, of course more expensive wooden board. The G84 at 70. The A75 was 80 USD. It says USD, but then it's showing Canadian prices, so I actually gonna have to change this up to USD again. Hopefully it does work and it changes the price, so it should be 80 USD, same as the EA75. I don't know why it went to Canadian again there. And then we have the Link E87 at 40 USD. When you consider these things, right, This is super cheap, right? Linky 87 is ridiculously cheap, but you aren't really like adding in shipping costs there. So some people say like shipping costs can be like 20-30 bucks. So you have to keep that in mind for yourselves there. The Phantom 81 Lite, technically similar stand, but you can also grab it on Amazon, which then would like save you a lot in terms of shipping. The G84 is the same case, but it's a really great board where it comes with 3 different colors. So you get 2 different switches, only one type of switch in the black and then another switch in the white and the pink. The EA75, you have 2 different switches available, 2 colors only. The Ola F75 has 4 switches, 4 colors. The Linky 87, you have 3 different colors available. And then as I said before, the 81, the Phantom 81 Lite has 4. The Phantom 81 Lite has a 4,000 mAh battery, right? It has the tri-mode available. The Mu 02 is the same case. You're going to get 4,000 mAh battery and you get tri-mode with this. The G84, 4,000 mAh battery as well. This exact same. And then the EA75, same 4,000 mAh battery. Same goes for the F75, 4,000 mAh battery. They're all going to be very similar, right? In terms of the battery life. The Linky 87 is also 4,000 mAh battery. So they're all running at the same battery size. So that means you shouldn't have to compare the battery length for them, right? So all of them should have the pretty much similar or identical battery life, though I would say the Phantom 81 Lite may be a little bit less just due to the amount of light that's coming out from the RGB, but it should all be very, very similar. Sure, like very minimal differences for the battery. Then when it comes down to the different colors and like different switch availability, you only get one type of switch in this, but you get so many different variables. So you get the white and the black. The black has the transparent keycaps. The white does not, but you get incredible RGB in them. The Mu 02, it's going to be very expensive. It is a nice wooden board though, and it really is more of like an art piece, nice design. It is something that's completely different, and of course it's going to cost more to build because it's wooden. The G84 though is like a really good budget board. I think out of the budget boards that I've tried so far, like the G84 really does sum it up with a lot because you get a lot of RGB with it, has good battery, has pretty much everything you need, just no volume knob. The A75 does have a volume knob, but I was really disappointed in terms of like the switch choices. And it pretty much is just another version of the F75, just a different type of layout in terms of a 75%, but the F75 has better switches available. The Link 87 has just one switch, but it does come really well for the price that you're paying. Where does the Phantom 81 stand? It's really difficult to say, as like to say this is going to be like a budget board that you shouldn't get because it's $106. You really are looking at something a bit different on each one. The Phantom 81 is doing something a little bit different, right? You get the springs, you have the full design, a good switch, have really good RGB, and this board itself sounds like really thocky. The only thing is though, is that the themed boards are really not good for gaming, and I think the white and the black are going to be better. But again, the G84 does the same thing for gaming. Both are VIA compatible, which is really great. And it really comes down to your own personal choice, right? If you're looking for something, say like money savings, but you get everything for the bang of the buck, the G84 is going to be your choice. The Phantom 81 really comes down to personal preferences. Are you willing to spend more money to really grab a board that has like the really bright lighting, has a special like design and the layout and the shape of the board? So I'll have links in the description for the Phantom 81 Lite for you guys, but really at the end of the day, choose wisely with what you really want. I hope this video helped you guys in terms of seeing if this board was worth it. I would probably go with another design, of course, compared for this one, because this is a theme that just doesn't match it for me personally. But if I were to really go down in depth with like what I think of this board and all comparisons that I've like mentioned in the whole comparisons, is that it's so hard to really say like you should go grab this board. And I'm not the type of person, if you guys have been following this channel, should know that I don't really just always say go buy something. I really say, you know, you should just check it out. I would say check it out, and I'll have the links in the description for you guys, and really see what I compared it to. Because at the end of the day, I want you guys to save your money. I want you guys get what you really are looking for, and of course enjoy what you have, right? You're spending money on these products. At the end of the day, it's not a cheap thing. Like I would say if it's not under, or if it's not under 50 bucks, or like, and it's over $50, I would say at that point it really comes down to being like it's not cheap anymore. If a board was under 50, then I would be like, oh my goodness, this is super cheap, you should definitely go check it out for sure. That's the thing, is as the market gets saturated, it should get cheaper. all things should get cheaper as the market gets saturated. Though of course there's going to be cost related marketing costs. Businesses have to of course make money, which I understand, and of course there's a tariffs now too. So it's really going to be right now hard to really reduce prices, especially as the market gets saturated, and there's going to be even more and more boards that come out. Keep your eye out, right? Check out the other boards that I compared it to, check out this one, and then really see and kind of to nail down what you're looking for. Of course, ask questions in comments. When people ask and, leave comments, I try to respond, and I really do want to help you guys pick the right thing. So leave comments and ask questions because I really want to help you. And of course, this community will help and answer a lot of things as well. So I'll have to catch you guys next time though, but please go check out the other videos I got.